All right, hello then, people. Welcome to session 3 of 4 of our Urban Shadows game. We are playing a heat wave in the UK at the moment, and British are in temperate warm climates, and very much this is in keeping with the city. So where we left at the end of last game, various things are moving. We now have not got Pearl and Rose this evening, but we have got Ruby back and Caroline. So the first thing we need to do is the start of session moves and see if we can make things worse for our characters. So in terms of the session intro, I'm going to go in the play order of the character keeper again. I'm going to ask the question to Richie. Which character you trust least to spotlight a faction for you? Before someone spotlights a faction, do just keep a quick look on the character keeper. Has everyone got a copy of that and access to it? Yeah, okay, Will has put them up. Thank you, Will. Just to make sure that you're helping your fellow players, if you want to anyway, achieve an advance by hitting all of their faction marks. So, Richie, who does Richie trust least who's in play this evening?
Well, it has to be Ruby.
So Ruby gets to highlight a faction for Richie. Richie doesn't have mortality or wild tagged at the moment. Wild might be a good one to give you a hand there because
that's where the demons are.
Well, and the Fae, both of which seem to be right in the middle of everything right now.
Yep, let's go for that then. I don't seem to have any marks against mine. Is that because I didn't mark something, or because
we didn't do everyone that in the first session? But you interacted with power with Gregory Peck in the first session, so can you mark power for me, please?
There we go, done.
Okay. So you're going to tell me a rumor or conflict you've heard about the factions. So the Wilds do include the Tainted and the Fae. Any others? I can't remember.
I think that's it.
Yeah.
At least in the original book, and none of us are playing the expanded one. So.
Okay. I think to try and fit in with some of the stuff that was going on last time, because I did get partway through listening to the session, I'm going to suggest that there is something of an identity war going on between the Tainted and the Fae, and Mr. Nobody seems to be getting blamed for some of the things that this Pretty Fae is doing, and the Pretty Fae seems to be getting blamed for some of the things that Mr. Nobody has been doing, and it means that a lot of the rumours are actually getting very confusing, because things that one faction is doing are getting attributed to the other. Or does that just make things messy?
I like messy.
Well, it does, but I don't have any problem with messy. Someone being blamed for some crimes they didn't commit seems perfectly in keeping to me.
Yeah, it just seemed to fit, because I got as far listening through the session that they were talking about some pretty boy who was trying to subvert prostitutes. And I thought, well, okay, that's Mr. Nobody then.
Well, I can work with that. Let's see how Richie's faring then. So you're going to roll with the faction.
So it's going to be a 5 again, remember? That's what I was getting every time last time. Oh, it's this 8. Oh my god, I actually passed a roll. Jesus Christ. Second time in 3 sessions. Cool. So in a 79.
You're neck deep in it. Someone of that faction a debt. Someone of that faction owes a debt to you.
Okay. So I will have a think about that, if that's okay. Like the person who owes me a debt. And yeah.
So, Lee, who does Lee trust least at this moment in time?
So I think I'm going to spread the love a bit and say it's actually Richie at the minute, mostly just because he's not really interacted much with Ruby recently. And whilst he mostly does trust Richie, he's also kind of becoming aware that a lot of the stuff he's acting on at the minute is based on stuff that like Richie has told him. So
yeah, Richie is a bit of a Cassandra when it comes to it, isn't he?
yeah.
Okay, so which faction would you like to mark for Lee then, Will?
Who's Lee got left? Lee has only got mortality left, and then he gets to advance. So I will mark mortality for Lee, and what I will say is, what did we establish? We established that
Yeah, Maggie.
the
preacher.
got the preacher and the mayor, and Carl, the keeper for Hollywood Forever Cemetery. What I will say is there are a group of LA cops appear to be rallying around the preacher, and they may the word on the street is they might know more about the supernatural world than basically they're the hunters of LA. Like it may seem like it seems as though there might be a group of mortal hunters out on the streets rallying around the preacher's message. Pardon?
Can you see my notes or my clocks?
Nice.
Right, Lee, would you like to roll to see how that's going for you right now?
That's going surprisingly well. That's a 10 in total with mortality.
So, on a full success, you're prepared for the conflict you've laid out, and you've got to adapt to someone in that function or useful piece of information or equipment. So, I think that means that Lee has got wind that the cops are going to do a raid.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think there's maybe a vice cop who owes me a debt, and but they've perhaps given me the nod sort of thing.
Awesome. So
I'll come up with a suitable name and add them to the.
We do that, and Will, if you can think about naming the corrupt lieutenant who deals with these bunch of thugs.
Dudley.
Considering I'm going to do a further game in this setting, which will be Monster of the Week, all about cops fighting monsters, we have a flashback. Good. Right. And finally for Caroline, which of these people does Ruby trust the least?
Ooh. I think probably Richie, because you can't hide from him. He will just shortcut to knowledge, and that's not on. He can't cover your tracks.
You're describing exactly why I chose this character.
Whereas, I mean, yeah, werewolf, but you know where you are with a werewolf. They're a hunter.
So, Richie, would you like to have a faction for Ruby that she's going to get involved with this time and spread a rumor?
Yeah. Night or wild? That's a good question, isn't it? I'm going to go with...
Tonight you've got the vampires and the spectres, which could bring Blanche back into play.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go with that. I'd like to have Blanche back into play. That'd be a good one. So what I'd say is was a fatal car crash recently, and a burning, like witnesses saw a burning Cadillac speed off from the scene.
Nice.
How's this going for?
Can somebody send me the link to the Rolly thing?
That is, I think, at the top of the chat.
Is it?
Roll
Roll
for
for
your
your
party.
party. Sorry, there were 2 links on that first comment. Right. So sorry. Give me a minute. So this is Wild, which I have +1 on.
It's night, actually.
Oh, sorry, Night. Which I have -1 on. It's kind of the same. So, right. Oh, it's still got stuff from doing it last time, does it? Okay.
Yeah, just click the dice and hit roll again.
So sorry, because I'm just so unfamiliar with this tool. What am I rolling?
You're rolling 2d6. So when you see Ruby chances numbers, I think you're green. Right,
Yep.
what I'll
So it's
do-
just 2d6. I don't know what d6p is. And then
Oh
a
no!
modifier.
If you look down, you can see the dice that are already set up, and there's a green set for Ruby
Yeah.
chances. There, if you just
Yeah.
click on both of them,
click on
and
both,
then
they're highlighted,
So I should
and
need
then
be
hit
listing it as blue.
reroll selected.
Sorry?
You just click on both of them till they're selected for Ruby, and then hit on re-roll selected.
Oh, right. Reroll selected and the modifier. Do I need to put the modifier on the
Just add
top?
the modifier on yourself manually.
Okay, so reroll selected. So that is a 5 and a 6 with the -1, so 10.
So the 10. It's all going all right. So even though Ruby's been out of action, she has heard about a woman that looks like Blanche, who's now a ghost, and you've got a lead on her. So I'm going to make it easy for you to track her down if you decide to go after her. After Blanche, after all, was one of your girls.
She was one of my girls, so can I suggest one of my business cards has undoubtedly been in the car, and this is so I can potentially give Richie another of my cards and get him to try and do something with it to track it down.
Very happy for that to be
Yeah.
for that to be the case.
Well, you know, I've got her card in my you know.
You've got to wait for Richard to do psychometry.
Yeah.
I think is where we to go.
I'm really struggling to think of people in Wild, so I'm just going to say that it was Ruby who owed a debt to me, so I can wipe out the debt that I owe to Ruby.
Okay.
And you know, I will say that perhaps I keyed her in on this rumor was the way that the fact that Mr. Nobody's actions and the Fae's actions are all getting mixed up, kind of thing, in the city. So
Okay.
I let Ruby know that was happening. But the person who I owe a debt to, I don't want it to be Mr. Nobody because I want to keep Richie a bit far away from that. So I'd be really open to suggestions from anyone if they've got it.
Yeah. Can I just check whether I am right in putting a mark against Night for this? Yeah.
That's right.
I think I've already done that.
Yeah. And
So you want someone from Wild?
Yeah, it needs to be someone from Wild. So
we're reducing those 2 debts you owe me to 1 debt.
I only owe you 1 debt anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wiping the slate clean with you, basically.
Yeah.
We could add someone new in if you like, or
no, I'm happy with that.
No, it's for I owe a debt to somebody else basically because that was I'm
sorry.
the only one who didn't get a 10+ on their roll, which is right. Richie has fittingly got terrible luck. So yeah. Who to be for Wild? There's Obi and Nightshade in the Fae side of things. I already owe a debt to Obi, which maybe Lee's going to clear for me now. I feel like it should be somebody else, really. I feel like there's a space missing for somebody else, effectively.
I'm trying to think of who else we could have into. Nightshade is one of the De Nervo family who own the part of the gambling boats.
I got into debt with the De Nervos.
Yeah, do you have someone else who's in that hold the debt over? Is that you owe them? They owe you a debt, or you hold them a debt?
I owe them a debt. So what I will say is my money that I owe to someone has been, like someone's bought my marker, and the De Nervo family's bought my marker, basically. Like I now owe that debt to the Minervo family rather than the little bookie card sharp who I owed the money to.
So I'm going to create Anastasia, who holds debt over your marker, and if Rose doesn't come up with the goods, then we know who else she's going to try and get her claws into Richie via. Right. So that's the start move. It is a hot day in the city. Kids are playing in broken open fire hydrants. The city is tense. Rumors on the street are that the vampire conclave got broken up by West Side vampires coming in trying to cause trouble, and there may be a civil war brewing between the East Coast New York vampires came in, and there may be a civil war between the various factions of vampires just about to explode in the city. The cops are on a crackdown as a result, and I think we will pick up in our first scene this evening. I think we should go to Lee and down at the waterfront. How are you preparing, knowing the cops are coming?
Yeah, so I think that Lee has been keeping an eye out for activity. He's been kind of making sure people are in slightly more secure, as meaningful the words that is, places to stay, rather than just like being out on the street. I would like to trigger my comes with the territory move here as I'm kind of going to be actively patrolling my territory, if that's okay.
Yeah, and once we've done that, I forgot to do Richie's start a session move as well. So we'll pick that up at the start of your scene, Richie. I think Richie's got to start a session move anyway. Yeah. So, David, let's roll yours too.
So that's an 8 in total. So on a 10 up security, on a 7 to 9, one of my trouble surfaces, my choice, but things are mostly stable. So I'm just going to double check what my issues were. Okay, so I think that makes sense, that, and I think that plays into the fiction as well, that one of my troubles is fealty, essentially. So I think that, the problem is that's I'm not able to protect, or not I'm not able to protect everyone, but some people are drawing attention to the place, and it is likely to probably, I guess, draw some attention from the police as a result.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so how anyone else that you've dragged into this? What about Wolf and his scammy leg and any other werewolves? Anyone else?
Yeah, so I have for the advance I got from getting mortality marks just now, I have actually taken the wolf pack advance. So I think in light of the fact that Wolf is kind of slowing down a bit now, he has perhaps slightly begrudgingly, but he's sort of officially brought me into his pack. And as a result of that, I think maybe one of the other pack members has been has been sort of helping me out.
Okay. Do we want to name them?
Yeah, sure. I think it's in fact, I think it will be I'm just going to add it to night. I think it's going to be Molly. She works as a bouncer at Wolf's Bar. And so I think she's kind of got that thing of, she's obviously quite physically capable, but she's also kind of used to dealing with the cops. So
she warned you that unmarked white cars with guys in suits and hats, and they all look like they're a bit muscly. They come onto the boardwalk down the boulevard, and they're heading your way.
cool. Yeah, so I think that Lee will be I think sat outside like a diner with a chocolate malt, which he's sort of nursing, and I think he's probably stashed his switchblade and his gun somewhere else for now, because it's probably best not to have those on if the police are rocking up into town. But yeah, I think he's going to kind of be basically keeping an eye out for the cops showing up to attempt to intercept them before they.
The streets roll down to the boulevard, the neon light shining off the little chassis. Inside, the men were on the lookout for something to hurt. They didn't know why they needed to hurt it, just that they needed to. They rolled past Lee, sitting there drinking his malt, towards the safe house where he knew his friends will hold up.
Yeah, sure thing. So, I think he's going to head up to sort of where they are.
Guy gets out. He's clearly packing heat, and he lifts a shotgun out of the car. 2 cars all in all, full of men. Even though they're dressed in suits or civilian clothing, you can't hide the look or the smell of cop on them.
Well, good evening there, officers. It's a nice evening for a stroll, isn't it?
Lieutenant Dudley, who seems to be in charge, he's got a dark crop, that look in his eyes of ex-military. The stench of the war is still on him, and he puts the nozzle of the shotgun, pushing it towards the ground, but looks straight at Lee and said, "Who are you?"
They call me Lee. I live around these parts. I was just wondering what it is that's got all your men so excited about this house.
Someone in there we got a warrant for. And anyway, what do you care? Just some fags who live here.
I got some friends around these parts, and you know, I don't want anyone to get hurt. You know who it is you're going in after? I can maybe help you out some.
Well, looky here, he laughed to his friends. There was me thinking, we were the law, and we got a sheriff on the boardwalk. Well, Sheriff, I'm looking for a man by the name of Obi. He's a gangster and a drug dealer.
Well, you won't find him in here. He's well, I don't know about no drugs, but he's from what I know of him, he can afford to live in a better place than this shithole.
He can, but what he likes to fuck can't. Get out of the way, kid. And the cops start pushing past you towards the entrance of the house.
You don't want to make an issue with this, officer. You got a warrant served on him, let me go in. I'll bring him out to you. But this could get real nasty real fast. There's a
Sounds like you're... Oh, yep. Sorry, David, I didn't cut you off there.
There's a lot of folks around these
parts. It does sound to me
parts.
like you're trying to persuade an NPC.
Yes, I will. So I get to roll this with blood instead of heart because we're on my turf. Let's see how this goes. That's 12.
Do what you ask. Fine. You go on in. You get him to come out nice and quiet. And nobody's got to get hurt. What do you say your name was, kid?
Lee.
Okay, Lee. You do this for us? Nobody gets hurt. Everybody's happy.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to sort of head into the building and, you know, go to where I think Obi might be and ask around if he's not.
Yeah, I think as you head up the stairs, Paige turns and comes into the view of Richie. Where do we find Richie after he got out of the car with Rose?
Well, I felt like what happened after he got out of the car of Rose is he went back home and bumped into Lee that night. That's why they had the prophecy that they exchanged. That makes sense.
Where do we find it now then?
Well, I would say that Richie is at home, and what I was thinking for Richie's first scene would probably be Carolyn mentioned what she wanted to do with that card from her thing. So I was wondering if I could hand the reins over to Carolyn, and she could, if she wants to have that a scene with Richie, then there could be a scene with Richie.
I think Ruby can come and call in.
Yeah. Or we can do it the other way and have something at Ruby's talent scout office, which might make if it depends whether.
Hey, if you ring up and ask Richie to come round, Richie will come calling. It beats his dump of an apartment.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, especially, and then you got the Rolodex, and he can do his thing.
Yeah, and someone will make me a cup of coffee.
Exactly. There might even be some sandwiches.
Hot damn.
We haven't seen Ruby's office before. What does Richie see and feel as he enters?
Ooh, that's a good point. He feels, this is the place where dreams are made and where hearts are broken, and contracts are written in things thicker than blood.
Yeah. I add to that. So, yeah, it's a talent scout's office. So there are those black and white headshots and things everywhere. Somebody observant might notice that, okay, those are the ones that are on show, but there's probably more powerful ones somewhere, and they're probably the ones that have things like a lock of hair and so forth. Oh, just to check your color, darling, and get for any requests.
Can I ask that as perhaps having been summoned over, Ruby's secretary tells Richie to take a seat. You'll be with me shortly.
Yeah,
you're a busy lady, right? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
And can I ask that perhaps while I am here, Richie will sort of sit and observe and perhaps investigate this place of power. That makes sense to do so, David?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. The lady who looks a little like Ginger Rogers as she asks you to sit down, and you can smell this place. What flowers does it smell of, Ruby? Just before Richie makes his run, what does it smell of and look like here?
Let's try to think. I want to say dragon's blood, but I have no bloody idea what dragon's blood stuff looks like because it's a resin. But it smells like somebody burns incense in this place. Maybe they're just trying to cover the cigarette smoke and so forth. Maybe they're trying to cover up a certain whiff of, brimstone. So there is that slight smell of musk and smoke that comes from a burnt rather than just sprayed perfume. And yes, I think there are flowers, but they're not particularly scented ones. I will say daisies will have to do. And I will later add to the playlist Tango Till They Saw, which that's straight from.
Okie.
Well, I rolled a 10+ on my investigate a place of power. So I get to ask the MC one question about the schemes and politics of the faction in question. And I think what I would like to ask is, this may not be a question that I can ask in a situation, but does Ruby know about the blacklist? And I'm asking David that. I think,
I was going to say I don't know that. So.
No, yeah. But this is maybe something that, like, Richie, being the Oracle, I obviously also have like the get out of jail free card of, you sent something, rather than like it being something I could literally know.
I think just before I answer that, there's something we didn't pick out for Ruby as a tainted, which is what sort of gigs she does for her the demonic jobs she does for her for Mr. Nobody. If you look at your playbook, Caroline, the list can be collecting souls, tracking down rogue demons, delivering threats and messages, guiding someone or something, assassinating your patron's enemies, brokering demonic contracts, hiding demonic contraband. You need to choose 2 of them.
Right, sorry, I'm trying to find this. Whereabouts am I looking on the playbook?
It's on the first page on the PDF of the playbook on demonic jobs.
Right, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to find that. Where's the PDF gone? Sorry, this is really slowing things down. Urban Shadows. It's the 2 meg one.
Playbook. So I'll send you a link now. Hold on.
Yeah. No, I can see the folder, love. It's just I can't see.
Yes, in the Urban Shadows. If you go in there, there's Playbooks Final V3.
Yep, gotcha.
And Tainted is page 11.
No, I've only got. Oh, right, I see. Sorry, it's trying to toggle between things. I thought it was going forward pages. Okay.
I'll give you a minute to think and look at that a second.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Let's go back to Lee just for a moment then. So Lee has made his way up the stairs and he's trying to find out where Obi Summers is. Yeah, they tell you that Summers is here. He's paid for an hour with Peaches and Dolly. They're his favourites.
Sure thing. I will head to their room. I won't knock. I'm just gonna, head in the door.
It's locked, unsurprisingly.
Sure thing. I will hammer on the door, and go out. It's Lee. Open up.
You can hear Dolly through the muffled door. We're entertaining. Come back later.
I need to speak to Obi right now.
You can hear the frantic noise of pants being pulled on from inside. No, Obi here. You're mistaken, says Dolly.
Just open the door before I kick it in, Dolly. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Dolly opens the door a crack and she looks at you in the face of murder. Says, "You are pissing off one of our best tipping clients, Lee."
I'm sorry, Dolly. I'll try and make it up to you, but right now I really need to speak to Obi. This is important.
He's pulled his pants up. He's putting his shirt on, buttoned it up. Don't think about coming into work tonight, kid. You're fired.
I'm sorry, Mr. Summers, but police are downstairs looking for you, and I figured it'd be better for you to head down and see them than for them to kick in the door while you were busy up here.
Police? Which police? They say who they were? Who's the officer in charge?
man by the name of Lieutenant Dudley. I heard a little about him from a guy I know. He's some hard ass working working on a special task force or something.
They're working with the preachers. If I go in with them, I ain't coming back, Lee. Got to get me out of here. I'll owe you. You get me out of here, Lee.
Okay, look. If you don't head out there, they're going to bust in here and hurt a lot of people. Now, I'll do what I can to help you get out of here, but there's something else as well. There's one of the Dinvernos. I think he's got his sights on you as well.
Who? You crackled up a bit there. Who do you say got the sights on him? Sorry.
Oh, one of the Dinvernos.
Goddamn surats. Damn Italians. They've got no... I forgot these guys are supposed to be quite posh and vicious. They've got no sense of decorum or honour. He's buttoned up his shirt and put on his jacket and says, "You get me out of here, I want them taken care of. You help me, I'll help you. We'll make sure that all of your friends live somewhere nicer, yeah?"
Sure thing, Mr. Summers. I'll see if I can cause a distraction to let you get out of here.
You're a good kid. Taps you on the cheek and puts a $20 bill into your shirt pocket. And we're going to cut back across to Ruby. Ruby, how have you thought about what sort of gigs does Mr. Nobody get you to do? Are you unmuted? Sorry, Caroline.
Sorry. Of that list, I think brokering demonic contracts is the obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was delivering messages and threats.
Okay.
So I thought I'll avoid the obvious collecting souls because that's just, hey, run the blacklist. Let's do something a bit less straight on.
So, can you ask that question for me again, Richie? I'll answer it correctly for you.
Does Ruby know about the blacklist?
No, she doesn't. But what you know about her kind is they don't necessarily get to choose what it is they get to do. They just got to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, it makes little difference to how I treat Ruby, but it means that I'm not gonna, I'm not like trying to steal it directly from her, for example. Because I imagine if Carolyn had chosen to have to protect something,
or collect souls, I may well have had a shopping list.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. Okay. So yeah, Richie's sat there and he asks when the second sits in silence for a bit, and then he goes, "Hey, doll, could you get me a coffee?"
Sure thing, sweetheart. And she heads off and pours you a coffee. Do you want cream and sugar with that? Or are you sweet enough already?
Oh no, I need all the sugar I can take, doll.
She puts one of them or two.
I'll take two, please.
there's 2 splashes, and she comes over and passes you the coffee. I'm sure. What's Ruby's surname?
Chance.
I'm sure Miss Chance will be straight out.
Well,
How long does Miss Chance keep her waiting?
Sorry?
How long does Miss Chance keep Richie waiting?
Probably not much longer. She just waits till he's got a coffee to fumble with by the time he goes in.
Feel free to paint the scene and take over the narrative.
Okay. Richie, come on in. And
hey, Ruby.
What you see in her inner sanctum, as it were, is it is all business compared to some of the supernaturals. That it's all fly-by-nights and living on street corners and who knows what. This is with polished desks and filing cabinets, and it is all business. Do close the door.
Richie kicks the door shut behind him as he walks in, holding his cup of coffee.
I wonder whether you might be able to take a look at something for me.
Well, sure thing. What do you have in mind?
Do you hear those strange rumours about Blanche?
Yeah, I hear strange rumors about Blanche. I hear that car driving around the block. I see her from time to time. Yeah, I'm familiar with Blanche.
Yeah, I thought you might be. So, I'm thinking maybe it's time to stop waiting for Blanche to turn up and try and see what's keeping her about. Find out where she goes.
I mean, no offense, Ruby, but I figured that you might know more about where we go afterwards than I would.
If you're sticking around up here, what can I say?
Yeah. Well, by
In
all
the meantime?
means, how can I help?
He goes to her filing cabinet, unlocks it from a key that she keeps very safe, and rifles through quite a disturbing number of files, and pulls out one for Blanche. And yeah, it's got all the normal headshot stuff, and her business card, and their business card, and a lock of hair, and reckon you can do something with this?
Yeah, sure. And so Richie will lay out the items on the table in front of him, stretch out his senses, and
When she sees he's starting to do stuff, that filing cabinet gets pushed shut. And I think you probably can feel something more than just a locking on it.
oh yeah, Richie certainly can. So I roll with
To make sure that you're not looking into any other files.
Oh, that wouldn't stop me. Okay, let's roll with my spirit. Oh, please, can I get a high roll again? Oh my god, it's a 5. I don't see anything. I do not see anything. Oh, the emotion of the object overwhelms me, and I take -1 ongoing for the scene with psychometry. What does let it out do? Doesn't have anything for an miss.
The move, yeah?
Yeah, I failed on the move. Of course I failed on the move.
Okay. So, you, Richie gets a bad feeling. Did he take cream in his coffee?
He did, yeah.
Cream and sugar.
Yeah, the cream just starts curdling in the coffee. The heat drops out of the air. And the wailing banshee that is Blanche appears and howls in full banshee form, screeching the house down in Ruby's place of work. You found her all right. But she found you.
I think Richie literally topples backwards off his chair as Blanche suddenly appears directly in front of him. Ah!
So I'm going to keep cutting back and forth between these two unfolding scenes. And I'm going to get back to Lee. What's Lee doing?
Yeah, so I think Lee's going to head out the front to where the cops are again. And he's going to head up to the lieutenant, and it looks like he's just going to say, Lieutenant, I had him come down with me, but he gave me the slip. He headed out the back way, and he's going to kind of do that thing of like pointing around the side of the building. But as he does, he's going to turn around, put both hands on the shotgun, and headbutt the man, and try and get the element of surprise on him.
Ooh, violence. Sounds like you're unleashing to me.
Yeah, certainly. So I just lost the moves.
So you're running with blood?
Yep. That's a 7 in total.
So you choose one from below as well. You can either inflict terrible harm or take something from them. But you also then inflict harm on you, or you find yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah, so I think what it's going to be is, I think I headbutt him. His nose, goes over his face. I think I take his shotgun from him, but I am in a bad spot because I'm surrounded by cops. I think, I don't manage to...
all untouchable style, and then you can see all of these pistols and shotguns come up and point straight at you. The lieutenant's grabbing his face and looking at you, a bit of a standoff or watching. And I think, to be fair, as they're watching you, we need to potentially see if we can keep your cool in this stressful situation.
That sounds fair.
If this goes wrong, we could get Reservoir Dogs real quick, real fast.
Yeah. So I think what I want, what I want to avoid is this actually turning into an outright gunfight.
Mm-hmm.
And I will roll with spirit, which is okay, not awful. That's only a 6.
You can cash in a debt to get a... Oh no, that's only for PCs. I was going to say lend a hand or get in the way. Because you got Sergeant Carnaby, right? So maybe he would be a good one to give you a boost on that. But
you can say he's here. I'm happy to establish that, and he could get in the way of someone else.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I will cash in the debt I have on him to give me that gives me a +1, doesn't it? So that'll take me up to a 7, which would be I think I'll cash in that debt. So I think maybe like Lee's doing that thing where he's got the gun and he's not really pointing at anyone, but he's trying to keep an eye on everyone. He's sort of looking a bit jittery, and I think the sergeant just like puts his hand on one of the other officers' guns and sort of basically I think he even just says, "Don't do anything stupid, boy," and it's just enough to kind of break that tension slightly.
I think the tension, yeah, breaks. Carnaby nods at you and gives you a sign that he's moving in, and he moves towards you and says, "Put the gun down, kid."
Yeah, and he'll sort of hold the barrel of the shotgun and sort of lower it gently down onto the street in front of him.
Gives you a wink as if like to trust me, and then punches you square in the guts, giving you a level of harm, putting the cuffs on you, and says, "Device case, it's coming with me." And he chucks you in the back of the car. There's protestation from the lieutenant. I said, he says, like, "It's a vice. There's a vice collar. He's my man." And they can hear them shouting for a little while before he gets in the car and drives off with you in the back seat in cuffs. Let's cut back to the Banshee. Outside in the reception office, a young girl would dream of Hollywood with dark raven hair sees the Banshee and goes immediately white. She screams and faints. The Banshee causes the bottles of spirit on Ruby's drinks cabinet to explode across the room.
Well, you wanted to hear.
What does Ruby do?
See, I'm thinking I wanted to hear because I wanted to weigh in. So I'm trying to think, what do we actually want her for, other than we wanted to progress the plot. I think, yeah, she's causing trouble around town. She's one of my girls. I'm pretty sure she should have gone when she died, and she didn't. So yeah, I think. Well, we're on session 3, so let's get fun. I think there's one thing that Ruby does very instinctively when she's in her private room and something supernatural screams at her like that, which is to respond in kind.
So what are you trying to get out of the scene when you do that? What's the effect you're looking for?
So, as in, I think she is going to go full demon back at her. So
it's going to be a fight scene then.
Or at least a taking dominance over. This is a spirit. This is her place. She's putting on her demon form.
You're rolling
the
devil inside.
Yes. So I roll with blood. So that is 2d6 plus 2. So give me a minute. So where's my things gone? I had dice. They've disappeared. Oh, they are there. So there we go. Reroll. Oh, so that's not great. So that is a 6, which means I am taking another debt to my patron. So let me just dump that up to 4. And I don't get anything shiny from my demon form. However, it does mean you get to see her demon form.
No, you must choose one, and you're your patron of debt, so you still get to choose one.
Oh, choose one. Okay. So yeah, I think I will be going for inflict. Inflict 1 more +1 harm. So basically, yes. From Richie's perspective, yeah, Ruby gets a bit scary. When most people talk about a smoky eye in Hollywood, they're not talking about the sort of smoky eye that Ruby has. Rubies do smoke. She gains feathery wings that wrap around her like a the sort of fur wrap that it's you could almost at first glance think it was a fur wrap, but those things are articulated. And yeah, she just reaches out with a very pale white hand that you're not entirely sure actually has flesh on it anymore, and slaps Banshee. You'll never get a roll if you think like that, if you scream like that girl.
Has Richie ever seen a demon like this? How does he react?
I think Richie's seen this in his dreams, in his nightmares, and
well, he already knew she was some sort of demonic thing.
Yeah, I think Richie's.
This is just confirming it all.
Richie's mostly just scrambling the hell away to the other side of the office while these two go at it, basically. And maybe, just maybe, I would like Richie to back up against, like scramble around the other side of the desk and maybe
go for the filing cabinet.
He could go for the filing cabinet, couldn't he? He could just put his hand on it and try that psychometry move again.
See who else is in there.
Yeah, maybe he'll do that.
Good,
he gets an 11
to get into the filing cabinets.
Yeah. So yeah.
So it sounds like you're trying to figure something out.
Yep.
I think. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I get a 10. Sorry, with a -1 for all of that, the nastiness before. So I'll keep hold of those 2 questions if you want to ask them at the end. There's a scene to resolve here. So,
that's fine. So it sounds like you're trying to calm her down, Ruby. You're trying to persuade the NPC.
Yeah, well, basically, she is doing the equivalent of slapping a hysterical prima donna. She's just doing it with bone hands to a banshee.
Okay, so you're rolling with your heart.
Yes. I'm horrible at that.
What was the other move you chose for Ruby?
Sorry, the 2 moves she's got. She's got invocation, which basically means she can get summoned genie style.
Okay. Yeah, I was just double checking you didn't have don't look at me.
No, I don't. So do you say it was heart?
It is.
Okay. Okay, so she's got 1 on that, and she's currently got +1 harm. So that
harm is damage. So
okay. So there we go. Reroll selected. No, that's a 5. So she's only doing a roll of 6 there, which I don't think does much, does it?
No, that's a miss. So
yeah, probably her hands go straight through the spectre then. She's a bit too solid, and the other one ain't.
So the banshee ain't affected by your words and looks at you and says, "You did this to me. You did this to me," and she screeches at you in such a way that it causes the window in the office to explode outwards. And it's going to cause a point of harm to you as the banshee scream cuts through you.
Okay, let's look. Just mark harm. So that's just faint, yeah. Okay. Is she sticking around or disappearing, or what's she doing?
No, she's not disappearing. Well, actually. Yeah, I think she is. She goes bang, and she's out the window and whooshes away into the distance, unless she wants to do anything.
Put her in an ink bottle. Actually, I'm not sure there's many bottles still intact in the place. I think there's now just a smell of whiskey.
Sorry, was Richie going to do anything to halt her escape, or just let Blanche disappear?
I think what Richie will do is, having got a good feel of the filing cabinet while this was going on, and seeing Scream at Thingy, will then let it out. And what he's going to do is he's going to try and reach out with his psychic powers and commune with Blanche.
Okie dokie.
Oh, and again he fails. I would level up so many times as if it was Monster of the Week, but no, it's it's another failure for Richie. So it doesn't say what happens on a miss with let it out. I guess nothing particularly happens.
It's a hard move for me.
Great.
For me, it's saying it doesn't say a lot of what happens on misses, but the move comes across to me normally. So I think at this point I'm going to store that up, and in fact, yeah, you try to extend your senses through to take control of Blanche, but instead, the aura and presence of the angered demon in the room is overwhelming. You're just not used to it. And you find yourself skirting around the shoals of Ruby's psyche instead. What terrible thing, a nightmare does Richie gain from this, Ruby?
Ooh. I think he picks up on some of Ruby's own nightmares of what it's like down below.
And you're left looking at each other across the damage and wrecked off.
Still there?
I think, yeah.
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 You're. I think you're
left looking at each other against the wrecked shape of the office, and I think we're faded black on that scene, and probably have ourselves a.
Can I ask my questions?
Yes, questions.
We'll ask the questions now.
Yeah. So my questions are, how could I get Ruby to help me find the blacklist?
So I think it's probably something that they can blackmail or pull Ruby's heartstrings with. What might that be that you might have found, Ruby?
I think the interesting thing about that filing cabinet is how many of those souls aren't made deals with.
Okay.
So that she's probably protecting at least as many as she's actually claiming, because while they're under her dubious protection, people will assume somebody else has a claim on them and back off.
And okay, that's interesting. So I can play on those. You feel like someone in your protection has been, like Blanche was under your protection, right? Because she was part of your.
Yeah.
Yeah. But and something that's just occurred to me out of character is that Blanche was clearly on the blacklist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she was one of yours. And Mr. Nobody owns the blacklist.
Yep.
So your patron, the man you work for, has destroyed one of yours. And what does that imply for your character?
Destroyed or claimed early?
Yeah. I mean, either way, right? Either way, it's a disruption to what it should, how things should be, right?
I was meant to get a lifetime out of her first.
Yeah.
And then he was meant to get her.
Yeah. So perhaps I've already answered that with what does your character worry might happen, and maybe that's what your character's worried about, right? Is that the deal's changing and you don't like how it's changing.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because if you can claim her early,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can
Yeah,
maybe claim me early, and I
cool.
might
Well,
have time to pay off the debts and try and get out of this.
great. Well, this is exactly what I wanted out of this scene. For Richie was to build a way of not having to fight Ruby to get this blacklist.
Yeah.
Maybe having her involved. Perfect. And I think I'd like to say that as we fade to black on that scene, Richie just looks over at Ruby, snatches up a completely pristine bottle that he'd slipped into his coat pocket almost by like accident, and then just opens it up and goes, "You owe me. For that, you owe me."
Okay.
I think you're saying that she owes you a debt, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
So are we switching to just being clear or a debt both ways?
No, it's because I cleared my debt with the starting move. I
You
chose to
cleared
wipe.
one debt, there were two.
No, I only owed you one debt for keeping you to the.
I had it down as two.
No, I owed Lee 2 debts. I owed you 1 debt, and I owed Rose 2 debts.
Okay, no worries.
I think maybe we confused all the R names at the start when we were doing all the debts, probably.
Yeah.
Cool. Then let's, at that point, take a 10-minute break, ladies and gents. We'll come back to what happened to poor Lee in the back of the car.
Okay.
Is it rain near you then, David?
Only very briefly, yeah, just like for a couple of minutes. But yeah, because I had the skylights all the way open, so I thought I'd better.
I'm dying for it to rain here. It'd be like
Yeah.
such a wicked relief. My laptop is about like 10 degrees higher than it would normally be. I can just feel it radiating off heat.
I'm supposed to be flying tomorrow at about 12:15, which I'm not sure if that's in the middle of thunderstorms, which will always be interesting. But not as interesting as going to thunderstorms in London City Airport. Still. Okay, so the streets are running by. You can see each neon light as you move further and further away from Sunset Boulevard. The back of the car, you're red hurting from the sucker punch you took. Sergeant, what was his name? Sergeant Carnaby is silent as you drive. What is Lee doing?
Well, Sergeant, thank you for helping me out of that little jam back there. I'm sorry I had to come to that.
You sure know how to pick 'em, Lee.
Yeah, well, you know how it is sometimes. Sometimes you just get dealt a bum hand and have to play them best you can.
Thirdly's got a line to Harvey, and Harvey's a hook to Victor Bright. And Harvey's looking to grow the city, attract the right people in.
Clean out the undesirable elements.
He's looking to see if I think the De Nervos have they want to build and develop this space. The point of being out at sea when you can own the docks down on the boardwalk.
That
place ain't going to be a good place for your sort of people anymore, Lee. Might want to think about moving on.
That tracks. The fellow they was going after has he's had some troubles with the De Nervos, best I can tell. Word on the street is they've been gunning for him for a while, so I suppose they decided to get the cops to do their job for them.
Sounds about right. You need to lay low, man. Towards the car over to a stop near a bus station, which will take you out of town. Goes to the back, gets you out, takes the cuffs off, and says, "I didn't see you."
Thanks, Sergeant. I'm this means a lot. Ain't too many on the force who's that kind to me and my people.
So there are real monsters out there. Look after yourself. He gives you a wink, and then gets back in the car, driving away, leaving Lee on the side of a road. What does Lee do?
Sorry about that. So I think Lee's going to sort of sigh. He's going to watch the car as it sort of drives out of sight, and then is going to start walking towards the it's probably I guess he'll probably start off by heading sort of down towards the waterfront, but he's going to be sort of sniffing the air and trying to get a lead on
De Novo, or
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
cool. So that sounds like you're hitting the streets to me, or you actually put a place in the name.
I'm actually going to try to use the hunt move from the
cool.
or whatever it's called, Bloodhound. Yep.
Cool.
So that's a total of 5. I think this one does have a semi-defined failure option, which is on a miss something. Someone unpleasant finds you first.
Let's cut away and figure who that is in a minute. Do Richie and Ruby stay together? Or they separate out?
I think we separate out, and Richie has one particular thing that he wants to do, and he wants to hit the streets to get some protection from somebody who can give him a gun, basically. So I want to hit the streets with mortality for a very quick attempt to get a gun, basically, off one of my contacts. That's possible.
That seems fine with me.
Yep. So hit the streets. That is a 8 because I have -1 in mortality. And I would like to say that perhaps I also know the wonderful Sergeant Joe Carnaby, Vice Cop, and I'm asking him for a drop piece, effectively. You know, like one of his.
Are they
juggling their own problems, or what I need is more costly than anticipated?
Mm-hmm. Which would you like it to be?
I what I had in mind for Ted, if I got this result, was perhaps that he would need me to basically promise to help him sort out whatever's going on in the scene that we just uncovered, right? Because
yeah,
I feel like, and I'd be happy to do that because it enmeshes Richie more in, you know, other characters' separate drama.
I think that sounds great to me. Thank you for reintegrating. That's great. Inspired to do that. Yeah, so I think that'll be the scene. Is Carnaby says, "Yeah, I got a gun. I can get it to you." It's taken off a taken off someone who ain't selling smack to teens no more.
Great, a real legacy.
Said, "You're going to need this. That means you're in trouble too." Who's after you?
I mean, who ain't after me, man? There's God, this. I don't even know if this will do any good. I mean, and he looks over at him. You know, there's something more going on in this town, right, than just a normal run of things. Things that go bump in the night, that kind of stuff.
Says, Richie, you normally sort your problems out with a smile and a little promise. You know, you're shooting people. This is gonna get real, Richie.
Hey, well, trust me, I ain't gonna be shooting any people. But
Said,
I don't know.
If you're gonna need to shoot someone, you might want some people with some real muscle. Here's a tip for you. Lee's in some hot water himself. Maybe you help him out. Maybe he'll help you out. I put my faith in him before I put it in 38.
Yeah. I definitely put my faith in him over me with a 38. Yeah. You got it, Teddy. Joey. Sorry, you got it, Joey. Joey Teddy Carnaby. I always love your middle name. But, yeah.
You been drinking?
Just a little. Just a little.
You got some I can have?
Yeah. For you, always.
Close scene on you passing in the hip flask. Tidying up Ruby's office. The the very old-fashioned phone rings, Ruby. It's the one that Mr. Nobody gets in contact with you on. You're all muted.
She leaves it to ring 3 times while she makes sure that front door is definitely shut. Sir.
As you pick it up, you can hear faintly in the distance the beautiful and remarkable sound of a castrato singing a recent jazz standard. And you hear Mr. Nobody says, "Miss Chance, how are you?"
Got a little visit from someone. You shouldn't still be up here.
Who's still up here, Miss Chance?
Blanche.
Huh.
Shouldn't she have headed south? Instead, she's screaming at people. She's joyriding. She's getting attention.
And I have 2 things for you to do, Miss Chance. We don't need attention. We were her contract was bought out, so she shouldn't be up here. So whatever she's doing might upset someone very important and very dear to me. I want you to deal with her. And I'm going to cash in a debt from your employer to do this.
Okay. As in cash it in now or when it shifts?
Cashing it to do it, yeah, because you had the option to not complete the debt, refuse to honour it at a later point, or things like that, right? So if you look at the debt move on page 1,
Okay.
I'm cashing it in, asking you to do a favour at a moderate cost, and they will raise the debt that they hold over you. So Mr. Nobody now holds 2 on you.
No, 3, because I gained 1 for the...
Oh, you did, yes. 3 debts, woohoo!
I had 3 debts to start, so I'm back down to 3 debts, woohoo!
Yeah. He says, and I had a call from an unexpected source. They asked the vampire West to bring in that drifter, Richie. He's been convorting with the wizards, irrespective, really, but she doesn't believe that Rose will bring him in. So if she doesn't, I owe her a favor. And as a result, you owe her a favor. The Black Widow wants Richie.
Why? He's a werewolf. He probably doesn't even taste that good.
You're mixing up Richie and Lee there.
Oh, sorry, brain. He pickled. He probably doesn't even smell. It doesn't even taste that good. The amount of gut rot he drinks.
She's gonna want him, and she's gonna keep asking. I owe her a favor. So you've got two chances, Miss Chance, or two choices. You can give them Richie, or you can sell out the Black Widow to the East Coast vampires who are making a move on things. You give away where she is, get her into trouble. They might deal with the problem for you.
Vampires killing off vampires. I can deal with that. Clear the floor for the rest of us.
Your waifs and strays will be your downfall, Miss Chance. You could have paid off your contract to me a long time ago. And there's a click, and the phone goes dead. Let's cut across to Richie, whose ears might be burning.
He's an oracle. They almost certainly are.
Yep. Yeah, he looks around and
disturbance in the force. No,
yeah,
wrong game.
he hears a whisper of his name and he's like, who said that? Yeah. So Richie has advanced, and because I use it so often, I'm going to move my spirit to a 2 rather than take anything fancy.
Cool.
Cool. And so I've got a gun. I've got a thingy. What I think I need to do is I need to actively seek out Blanche myself away from demonic presences and so forth. So would that be a hit the streets, or would I be able to let it out in terms of
Just a quick question on that.
Yeah.
With all the chaos going on, did you grab Blanche's file?
I didn't actually grab the file.
I'm just thinking it was right in front of you.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
So because you were doing psychometry.
If I'm allowed to do, then maybe I grabbed something from the file rather than something you would notice, right? Maybe I grabbed the lock of hair or something. Yeah, the paperclip. Why not? You'd never notice it, right? There were so many all over the office by the end of all of that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. I've got the paperclip. And I set it down. I set down the glass of whiskey. I'm back at my apartment. I pull out my glass of whiskey with a mat stuck to the bottom of it, and take a swig. Set it down. Set the paperclip out on the table, and David, tell me if this would be a let it out or a hit the streets.
It's a hit the streets.
Okay. So I roll with the faction of Night, correct, for that, because she's a ghost. I gave my... I did that wrong last time. I gave myself a -1 in Night rather than Mortality, which was not right. Oh no, I already had a -1 in Mortality. Great, so I'm choosing the one where I have a -1 in. Amazing. I always like to stack the odds against myself.
It's Richie's MO.
11. Sick. So, yeah.
I think we should take this moment to understand that even with -1, Will has actually rolled an 11 for Richie, and a single one.
It was a 12, actually. That's with the -1 attached is an 11. Like,
awesome.
Success, yeah.
I'm getting this feeling with roll for your party. There's where some people you tell off your dice or you throw your dice away. Sometimes you just want to like swear at the roll your party room. But you have rolled an 11, which means name who you're going to find. It's a full hit on a hit. They're available and have the stuff. They have what you need.
So what I'm asking for is to speak to Blanche. Is to speak to Blanche and to effectively like have a chance to ask her about what's like who did this to you, like where is the blacklist, like who, so to ask like why did they do this to you.
So Richie, knowing what Richie knows, I think he puts himself where he's sort of on the street watching as the light goes red, and you can see the headlights and the smoke before anything else. And then you see the flame, and you can see this burning Cadillac raging towards you, which comes to a dead stop a few steps away, and Blanche gets out. If you significantly interacted with a faction, then normally, yes, you do, I think, don't you? Answer Caroline's question in chat. I'll come
so
back to that.
Yeah, so if you want to, we'll do that afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, specifically having a debt cashed in. Yeah. Good. So yeah, she gets out of the car, and she doesn't look like the Banshee anymore. She looks like the picture in the spreadsheet where she is this young Hollywood starlet with her hair in a Alice band, and she's looking at you and saying, "Oh Richie, what has become of me, Richie?"
Blanche, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know you before. I'm sorry, Blanche. But I'm trying to make it up, okay? I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to stop this happening to anybody else. Can you help me?
You're a good man, Richie. You're a good man in a city of monsters. None of the rest of them care for me.
I know, Angel.
I thought Ruby Chance was my friend. She betrayed me.
How did Ruby betray you?
Said she'd make me famous. Signed the contract. My name didn't end on no Hollywood contract. They put it on the blacklist. They put it on the blacklist.
Who put it on the blacklist?
They want to make this city safe. Fit for the American dream. No place for people like me. No place for people like Lee. Maybe no place for people like you.
Yeah, well, and Richie takes a swig from the glass of whiskey and goes, "I'm living the American dream, baby."
If you want to get a heck of a lot more out of it, I'm going to suggest you want to figure someone out.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Do you mean I can't just reach out with my hands and skim the surface?
It's not.
No, I know. I think the questions for figure someone out are better, anyways, in this case. And of course, that is a 4. So there we go. Oh, I'm just going to quickly roll my starting moves, by the way, which I never did. I get an 8, so I have a +1 in hold for to act upon a prophecy, basically. So it doesn't help in this case. So yeah, I'm trying to figure her out, but she's talking in riddles, and she's However, could I place myself in debt to her? Is that how I can use the debt system? I'm not quite sure.
You could. I'll accept that if you promise to do something for her and take a debt. She'll tell you some stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I will put myself in debt to Blanche.
So what are your words to accrue this debt to her? What are you going to promise her?
I think
Dark City.
I think Richie will stand there, with this very beautiful girl restored to herself for once, right, for a brief moment in time, and he'll reach out his hand, and as she passes it out, he'll hold it and he'll bring it up to his face, and he'll say, like, "I'd just tell me what to do, Blanche. I promise. I'll do whatever I can to make things right, to save these people, to stop whatever happened to you from happening to anybody else, and to make them pay, to make up for not stopping this from happening to you."
I like girls, Richie. They killed me for liking girls. No place for people like me. I knew too much. I'd seen too many people. They killed me for what I knew, Richie. I'm going to kill your friend for that as well. Someone's pulling the strings in this city. Everything's changing.
And it ain't nobody?
Somebody.
It's somebody. All right. Did
I
you...
hear it's the vampires from the West Coast. East Coast, even. They're making a move on the Poblore.
They're making a move. And they're clearing the way for the American dream. For the real estate, for the property developers, for the shining city on the sea. Huh.
It's a real blacklist. There are only red names on that list. They put your name on it. You're forgotten. You're over. You're done.
I won't forget you, Blanche. I promise. Now, Blanche, was there somebody you left behind?
Just my mom. She's in Arizona.
She's safe then. Okay, the vamps from the East Coast. Goddamn. If it wasn't bad enough having two vamps breathing down my neck here at home, I got these New York jokers to deal with. Thank you, Blanche.
Always the vampires. Let's cut across to the trouble that Richie got into. You were trying to catch that smell, Richie, of talcum powder and lily of the valley, and it's so strong. You caught it, and you're heading down the main drag of the strip, close to the riverfront, and that's when you spot once again Lieutenant. Where's he gone? Lieutenant Dudley and his goons. You know, hey Lee, did you think we wouldn't be looking for you?
Well, officers, I can't say as I thought you wouldn't be, but I had hoped.
Says, your time is drawing short, kid. Your name's on the blacklist. You can't ever outrun me.
Well, Lieutenant, I guess you can go back to your bosses and tell them that they can go fuck themselves, and I will see them run out of this town one way or another.
How do werewolves feel about silver in this world, Lee?
I think some werewolves definitely it has a more powerful effect on. It's possibly to do with age or a bloodline or something. I didn't I'll double check, but I don't think I took the weakness where I'm especially susceptible to it.
Sure.
I will just double check.
While you're looking, I'll cut and I'll come back to
Yeah,
you.
no worries. Sorry. Yeah.
With, no, it's my question I've asked you, but while you're thinking about that, I'll cut and come across to Ruby. Where is Miss Chance and what's she doing next?
How well known is the Black Widow's whereabouts? Is it? Yeah, does she hold court? Is it?
Yeah, there are some streets not too far from the center of the city that she runs a multitude of whorehouses from all within the grip of the heart of her web from her and her children and bondage servants. I think we established you'd come across her in the past. She is a trader in secrets and forbidden love.
And
Forbidden love. She
Forbidden
runs
love.
the best hookers in the city.
Okay. I think, much as she may regret this, Ruby is actually going to try and get in touch with Richie before she goes anywhere on this.
Mm-hmm.
And meet him in some dive bar where nobody listens.
Sure.
I think, unfortunately, Will's just stepped out, but back in just a moment.
Well, we'll come back to that in a
Oh,
second.
there is. There is.
That's right. I'll do that because I think David's probably answered his question. So I'll go back to Lee and cut across to you.
Mm-hmm.
So Lee, does silver worry Lee?
Yes, it does. I realized I hadn't actually picked the two weaknesses, so I will go with silver because it is a classic.
You can smell it as he loads silver buckshot into the shotgun and snaps it shut. He goes, "Come here, doggy."
Well, Officer, sorry to disappoint you, but I got places I need to be more than I need to be here right now. And I think with that, he's going to turn and run.
Try and pull an escape.
Yep.
Rolling with blood.
That's 12.
Woo! He pulls up the shotgun. You can describe how you escape, but choose one on escape. What happens? Describe it for me.
Yeah, so I think as he turns and runs, there is just that moment where the light catches his eyes, and just for a moment they sort of reflect the light back with that sort of yellowish glow, and he kind of snarls, and his lips maybe roll back a bit more than would normally be expected, and he runs like he's fast. He's sort of athlete fast sort of thing as he goes away, and as he tears off sort of across the street away from the cops.
Cool. So you're marking, then you base your intersection marking corruption, I presume, for what you wanted to do there?
Yeah, that's correct.
Cool. Lovely. So let's cut back to the dive bar. Richie has suggested the dive bar if he's willing to meet up with Ruby.
Yep. She is very much,
Richie,
let's have a chat somewhere. Nobody gives a shit.
Richie, where in this city does Richie know that no one gives a shit?
It's a bar on the edge of Chinatown. Nobody gives a shit here. If you're a white man, your money's good, and if you ain't, then who cares? It's one of the only places they can be seen.
Chinatown is an interesting place in 50s LA. quite a lot of it was cleared as the Japanese community, especially, was put into camps and then moved out of the city. But the black population moved in, and this place is full of reefer bars, jazz bars. There is an active black music scene here. White folks do go here, but nobody asks no questions. Nobody was never here. Nobody knows nothing. This is not a place where cops come. It is not a good side of town.
Yeah, but they know Richie. Everybody knows Richie. So yeah.
So, Baseball Jack owns this bar, named such because he keeps a baseball behind, a bat behind the bar, and anyone who causes trouble is likely to get their head used like a baseball. When you come in, you buy your drink. He only sells spirits and basic American beer. You get a table, you smoke, you're left alone. Those are the rules. Even when a dame like Ruby comes into the bar, people look up for a second, and nobody will ever admit seeing that she came in.
To be honest, even she's dressed down for this. She is not aiming to attract attention. It's probably the only time he's seen her without lipstick.
LA Confidential tells us that you need to wear like a hooded velvet cloak to look
truly inconspicuous.
Inconspicuous when you're picking up booze from a bar.
Yeah, look like White Riding Hood.
No, she is obviously she's dressed from the tail end of her wardrobe that's probably about to go out to Goodwill, sort of thing, and has dropped the lipstick and doesn't grab the attention the way she normally would.
2 seconds.
I thought your lips were that color all the time, Ruby.
Yeah, thank you. You're very welcome. I've been given another fan, which I need.
Nice.
I'll plug it in. Have double fan duty. Cool. Right. Sorry, folks. What did you say then?
He said he thought her lips were that color all the time. Only thanks to cosmetics.
Huh. Well, take a seat. I'll get you a drink. It may not be up to your standard, but hey, the music here is better than anywhere else in town.
Bourbon will do fine.
Yeah, well, luckily I got a bottle for the pair of us. So here's to you, and here's to our friend Blanche.
She takes a very deep draught at that.
Now, I hope, speaking of our friend, I hope you're not hoping to make contact again.
I haven't the faintest idea what I'd do with her.
Right.
The hand went right through her.
Yep. I see how not being able to get your hands on something might cause trouble for someone in your line of business.
Someone else bought her, Mark.
I didn't think
worse than my lot.
I didn't think that was how this worked.
Nor did I.
Huh. What about your Mark?
Messy as ever.
Right. Well,
ish.
Yeah,
Someone wanted me to pass you over to the Black Widow.
God damn. Everybody wants to pass me over to the Black Widow.
Yeah.
God, I ain't even met the bitch. I don't understand what. Some people just want what they can't have, and she can't have me.
That's why I got your back.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Now, given, and he clinks a glass against yours, and he says, this is all well and nice, right? But historically speaking, our relationship is one of give and take. And what can I give you tonight?
She looks around the bar. Only one way the Black Widow gets off your back. So she ain't here anymore.
I'll drink to that.
Good.
So, who wants the widow squashed other than me?
Other vampires. Let them screw each other.
Yeah, I'll drink to that. Drinks again.
So, I know roughly where she resides. We maybe get a bit more of a distinct location. We maybe let some people know. We let things happen as they happen and we stand back. Yeah?
Now, the vamps we're talking about, are they locals or are they these outside crew that I've been hearing about?
Does it matter? They're still vampires. One sort's as bad as the next.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm not going to argue that point. Everybody needs feeding, right?
Sadly so. We try and put some of them on a diet, but what can we do?
So, out of character, we don't actually have anybody who's an East Coast vampire in our things yet. And now I have already marked night, so perhaps this would be a time for Ruby to attempt to put a face to a name. Would that be right? Or a name to a face, even?
Yeah. Do I know any of the East Coast vampires trying to make a move in, Dave?
To answer that question, there's a move called put a face to a name.
Right.
You roll with their fraction. So you're rolling with night. On a hit, you know who you need to speak to.
Right. Okay. So I'm on night -1. So whatever. So I just roll 2d6, but whatever I roll, I'm taking one off.
Yep.
Let's see whether I know anyone. No, apparently I have a 4, which is a 3. I know nobody.
Well,
I know nothing, Jon Snow.
Well, on a miss, you don't know them, or you owe them. I'll tell you which. I think it's much more interesting for the story that you owe someone something. Yep, there's been some East Coast vampire action in the city. Some of them have come out of New York. Some of them have come out of Washington. The desire to grow this city and to make it a metropolis of its own. Well, the Pablore and the vampires in the city might be glitzy and glamoury or ancient, but they ain't nothing like the ones who came over on the Mayflower. So we need to name old school sounding vampire who has a mid-Atlantic accent, don't you know? Can I put a name to it? Or shall I put one on?
Well, if you want Mayflower, I'm kind of thinking something Puritan, so you get the likes of Temperance and Prudence and Meredith and so on and so forth.
What would be a really ironic name for a vampire? It would be Moderation, or like
what's the opposite of gluttony?
I can't think what the opposite of gluttony is.
Gluttony, gluttony. Moderation or abstinence. And there are antonyms to gluttony include.
Yeah, no, there's actually something about
patience.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if it was abstinence, then maybe like people call them
just
Abby, right?
Yeah, temperance. Yeah.
Temperance, good fellow.
Yep.
He is one of the oldest vampires that you're aware of, and was definitely came across in the founding of America and has existed here ever since.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I would suggest. Just trying to think of the next, because the trouble is most of the way that Ruby's debts and things end up incurred is through starlets.
Maybe he secured a role for one of your starlets, like from an East Coast movie studio or something like that.
Yeah, we can go for something along those sort of lines, or maybe he's the East Coast vampires were into radio, you see. Doesn't matter how old you were when you were on radio. So I think perhaps
possibly she has used her connections with him to give options to some of the starlets she's been trying not to give over to Mr. Nobody.
All right, that's really nice tie-in, actually. That he's your man.
He's my railroad.
Oh yeah, send them out east, like away from.
Send them out east, away from Mr. Nobody. They've left the industry, and that's she's prepared to pay for that.
That is really nice reincorporation. I like that. So you know a name. Let's cut back to. I won't cut back to poor Lee, but it would be kind of great if we can bring Lee back in with you guys. And because the vampire is everywhere, it shouldn't be too difficult to bring Rose back into the mess of this in a minute as well. Anything else you guys want to do while you're together, or separate out?
What I'm half wondering is the Black Widow is so obsessed by Richie himself, whether he's actually able to use himself as a focus to identify her. You are the object of affection.
I never belonged.
He may have never considered himself this way until Ruby suggests it. We may not want to do this in the bar. Things do sometimes go wrong around you.
I have this power called. I have this power that's I gain a specific and clear vision about that person's future, but I can't use it on myself. That's a damn shame. Yeah.
I'll let you do it with Let It Out, but if you fail, she can track you instead.
You know what? I leveled up Let It Out. I've got a +1 in hold to avoid something dangerous that I can spend on this if I need to.
Oh,
Let's not roll a 1-1.
Hey, Richie.
Yep.
It's a bit risky, but if you're worried about her tracking you, let's get on the streetcars. You do your thing while we're on the move.
Yeah, let's give it a go. So we'll go in a streetcar car, and I get that. I have a feeling that David's hard move will be lingering rather than literal.
Yeah, but
let's see how it goes. I like the idea that we get onto the.
she is tainted. She
Yeah.
is used to understanding how to squirm out of technicalities.
Great. So I get a 9, and
is there anything I can do to give you an assist? Or...
I don't need one because I'm happy to take the corruption. To be honest, I want to take a corruption move.
Yeah.
So basically, because either way, I get to all the 10 plus gives me is the opportunity to take more stuff, but I'm fine with the 1. So
that's all right.
Sweet. So yeah,
you're trying to take a definite hold of something vulnerable exposure, I would imagine.
Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, I'm. And the Black Widow's nest among her web.
I'm also going to say that Ruby has been leaning on the. I could have just turned you over to her, and I didn't. you are. I cut you back. Is I think you owe me.
Yeah, I would accept that. Yeah. I mean, for sure, you could have chosen just to do this the easy way, right? Certainly, pitching the vampires against each other is a. But then, is it a cost to you? The vampire. I'm gonna let you in on the secret that the vampires are the ones who cashed in Blanche's blacklist.
Okay, so maybe we'll just count it as a nil-sum game there, which is there's been some. They want you, okay. They're after Blanche. She's not happy about that either.
Yeah, I was holding that slightly close to my chest until we had the conversation, but I feel with this at this point, I would have revealed it anyways, you know.
Yeah.
So because we're on the same card at this point.
Yeah. Possibly also, I think she possibly has revealed to you, without the specifics, look, there's a guy I know out east who is fangy, but he's all right, and it means I can get some of the girls out.
Yeah, and he might be just the guy to get rid of our spider problem.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So, David, what does my vision tell me?
You see a sight of a white house with a white picket fence and a pristine garden. And through the door there is you can feel the stench of blood and the miasma of blood in the air. And there you can almost see tendrils of metaphoric, perhaps almost obtuse form of a web, but at the center of it, sitting, is this demure and beautiful young Asian woman who you step in, you just manage to miss the webs, but she sort of turns towards you as you snap your fingers and pull yourself away. But you know where she is. You saw like a location.
Great. Well, I know where she is, so I think that's information that your friend might find very, very useful.
Caroline, if Floyd wants to play the game, he's got to go on the wait list like every other Gorkatier.
He is being a pest.
Where did Richie go? Running without friends. The cop's on his tail. Sorry, Richie. Sorry, Lee.
Everyone keeps calling Lee Richie this session.
Lee's running. Cop's on his trail. His name's on the blacklist.
I think he's actually going to try and find Ruby.
Okay. I mean, Ruby's office is well known. You know, her business cards can be found around town. Leaving a message for her is easy.
I think Lee's looking to hunt her out, to be honest.
Ruby's done some work sorry, Lee's done some work for Ruby before the vice way around, wasn't it? So she should know where to find it. If you want to find her immediately, look, let's bring the group together. Let's make that happen. He's a werewolf. I'm not going to make you all hit the streets. We'll just narratively say, as you're just finishing your
They're on a
whiskey.
streetcar.
Well, as you're on the streetcar, you see a dishevelled and a slightly feral-looking Lee get onto your car.
Okay.
Miss Chance, this is a strange thing. I was coming to find you. He's going to kind of glance around and lower his voice and say, "Look, I think I may have gotten in some stuff a little over my head, and I was wondering if I could maybe crash around to your place for the night."
I think I can arrange somewhere for you. You know, we can sort something. You've tried to help me out often enough. We got ways of sorting that out.
Thanks. I think the cops might be looking for me, and there's...
Sweetie, I can get people off the streets when there's paparazzi looking after them. The police will get you into some quiet place that nobody's going to go looking.
Thanks, Miss Chance.
That's not like
I
them
appreciate
to be down your way, though. There's favour and supply down your way, yeah? The police get what they get and they don't come looking.
There's
What's
some...
changed?
Can I exposition as well with Richie's knowledge from Blanche about them trying to clean up the streets and the threats and blah blah blah. So let's just assume that we're never like David. You go ahead with what you're saying for Lee, but we can just assume that Richie's filled you all in on like what Blanche told him about, like killing the gays and everybody. You know?
Yep. No, we can't be having that.
Yeah, it's this new hard ass in town. He's working for the mayor directly, and the people that pulling the mayor's strings. And he knows, about this whole thing.
So he needs to be tied up in debts. If he's in this world, he works this world. I'm not too good at playing the game myself, but that's the way we got to run it. Find his weak spots, push him.
Yeah, that's not a bad plan. Meanwhile, I got a scar to settle with.
No, meanwhile, you got to lie low.
Well, sure, but yeah.
Oh, makeover. We scrub you up, make you look like a gent. Police aren't going to come after you. They're looking for, well...
Yeah.
She's trying to say they're looking for some rat off the street, Lee. That's a polite way of saying it, right?
I know. This guy, I don't think is going to be fooled by a new set of clothes. But yeah, getting off the street for now is the sensible choice. So thank you.
We'll sort you out. And I'm going to scrub one of Lee's debts off. Because I'm going to sort him out with a starlet's hideout for when she wants to not be caught by the paps. Which actually means you get a really nice bed for the night. Because when you really want something, you just come to a demon.
Exactly.
So, I think Richie's got a location on the Black Widow. You're muted, mate.
Sorry, first
Oh,
time I've done that in a long time. But
He's
yeah, well,
okay.
Do you want to go after the Black Widow this evening?
we can feed the
all
information to the
To Temperance Goodfellow.
Temperance Goodfellow, for sure.
So you
And
need
then
to
back the hell off.
back with Temperance then.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to put 2 clocks to 10 o'clock. Hooray for me, coming in.
Now, do we know where Temperance would be?
I think I've got contact details for him.
Cool.
Yeah, I think there is a war and a battle pretty much ready to hit, so I think you're going to need to hit the streets to find him.
Well, I can think of.
So he's hit the streets. Something anyone's got. Sorry, love. Is it?
Expansion move. It's a core move.
Right.
When you hit the streets, get what you need, name who you're going to, and roll with their faction. On a hit, you were available and have the stuff.
Can I suggest that maybe we use our bloodhound to sniff him out, and that way David gets to mark night again.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Also, you're actually good at night as opposed to us.
It is his faction.
Yep. I just need to go and grab my charger. Hang on.
Okay. So, would you like to roll Bloodhound, Lee?
You could just roll hit the streets as well, I think, right?
Yeah, hit the streets is probably makes more sense in this case because it's to get a specific thing out of him rather than just find him.
I actually didn't know your move was called Bloodhound. I was just
cool. Sorry, I've done to the wrong thing. Yeah, hit the streets. Ooh, that's a 5.
Oh dear.
Do you know, I feel...
Just fudge it.
No, there's no fudging. Never fudging. I think it's more likely that the impact of you trying to search him down actually instead gets you right into the mixture of the LA vampires and the Pavlore. And I'm going to say you find him, but he's under surveillance. And this should be really interesting for Pearl when she comes back because Vampires is going to put a hit out on you. So you find him, but you were spotted finding him.
Vampires are going to put a hit out on Lee or all of us?
Well, you're together.
Oh, I did think it was all of us. Nice.
It feels for the final session, we'll see how Pearl reintegrates, but it should be interesting.
Hey, well,
so,
I mean, if the Black Widow goes, there's a vacuum that Pearl can step into, right?
She was, I think, the Black Widow in the past, but maybe so. But right, so let's. He is staying at one of the grandest hotels in. So this hotel in LA called it is on my notes. He is in. Let's gonna say he's gonna be in actually. He's in the Hotel Bel Air, which is in Bel Air. No princes yet. But you do track him. You find him. Get enough leads, and locate him. When the minute you step in the lobby, you realize you're in someone else's house, and there are everyone here. I think Lee especially can smell the blood, and Ruby can smell the servitude and the contract sworn. The closest you think you've ever come to it. This is different, more not quite decadence, not what I'm looking for. Everything in Mr. Nobody's abode is clinical.
This is visceral
and well ordered. This is more visceral and more just so. Everything in its place. It's not particularly ordered. It feels extremely orchestrated. Literally, like as if it was an orchestra or a theatre cast moving around on their duties. And you enter, and a tall, muscular man with blonde hair and blue eyes looks at all three of you. Says, "Unless you are the hors d'oeuvres, you've come to the wrong place."
Well, we got a meal for you, pal. Or more likely for your boss. More than he can sink his teeth in. Just enough the right size for him to sink his teeth into. It's and he sort of makes a little spider shape with his hands. It goes like, if I said it was black, sitting squatting in the middle of LA, and crawled up the web, maybe you'd be interested.
The phone in the lobby rings. One of the other vampires. It's sort of, again, at speed. It sort of darts, and then it picks up the phone. Comes across and whispers, "Mr. Goodfellow will see you." Points towards the lift. The door is open. There is a lift operator in there.
Mm-hmm.
He pulls the handle, and up you go towards the penthouse at the top of the building. When the door opens, Ruby, what immediately tells you you're in the presence of something incredibly powerful?
It's how understated it is. Any less confident vampire would feel the need to Trump Tower this place. But it is almost puritanical, in fact. It is very, very plain. There is, I mean, one might say quite pragmatically, there is nothing around you can grab and wallop anybody with in this room. The chairs are sufficiently sturdy that you would struggle to stake anybody with anything broken off from one of them. But nevertheless, it is almost Amish in its, just utter simplicity, white walls, very simple furniture. This is somebody who needs no trimmings.
Mm-hmm. Lee, what tells you that the figure who is standing in the penthouse at the center, almost unmoving, is apex predator that even your wolf feels it needs to bow down to?
Yeah, I think it's just that fact that said he's stood there with his back to us, and there isn't even the slightest like twitch of acknowledgement or reaction to us entering the room. You can kind of feel that he knows we're there, but the fact that we are there is utterly inconsequential to him.
And Richie, in this incredibly minimalist space, how is he dressed?
I think he's dressed quite plainly in just plain white shirt, simple, like not ostentatious or anything. Simple black trousers and simple shoes, almost like a well-kept, worker in his church clothes, rather than a man of such power and grace. Maybe a holdover from his Puritan days.
He doesn't turn around. He does continue to look out the window over the city. Miss Chance, it is a rare pleasure indeed to see you face to face.
Mr. Goodfellow.
Why are you here? And what interesting company you have chosen to come with?
Yes, these are people I value. I would prefer that they walked out.
Value has such a complex meaning with your kind, Miss Chance. But you have come here and you receive my hospitality. None of you will leave harmed at all.
Thank you.
A drink, perhaps?
No, thank you.
I'll take a whiskey if you've got one, sir.
Indeed. A figure comes over and passes you a Scotch whiskey.
It is the best whiskey Richie's ever tasted.
So I am afraid I do not stock bourbon. I hope this is to your tastes.
It's incredible, sir. Thank you. Thank you. I should come here more often.
If you prove yourself of use to me, that might be doable, young man. Turns around and looks at the werewolf. What about you? Traveling with such strange company. What is it, I wonder, that they have over you?
Well, sir, I'd consider the both of them friends, as far as you can call people that in our world.
I do so enjoy the loyalty of your kind. Looks back to Ruby. His eyes, when he looks at you, are starkly white and piercingly blue. They are devoid of anything that you would recognize as human emotion. What is it you've come to speak to me about, Miss Chance?
I will come straight to the point before our intelligence runs the risk of becoming obsolete. We understand you are seeking a change in power around here.
Who could have possibly told you such a thing?
I have strange sources.
But indeed, we do feel that this city will be better under our control.
Do you wish the location of the Black Widow? It would make the transfer of power so much neater.
I would say that would be of interest to me. What is your price for this information, Miss Chance?
Shall we say a favour owed to each of us?
No. A favour owed to two of you. One of you is here, not out of interest. You're out to save your own necks. Which of you is it, I wonder? I will owe a favour to two of you. Decide among yourselves. You can turn back to look out the window.
And I'll just look at the pair of you and just go like, eh.
It's okay, sir. I'm just here with the two of them to a chance meeting. This was their this was their idea.
I think my friend sells himself short, sir. You know how humble such creatures of the wilds can be. But I will be straightforward with you, sir. It's I who is here to save my own neck. The Black Widow is has been sniffing around me for far too long, and I'll be honest, I saw a chance to squash that bug, and I thought I'd take it. So my companions here, they're the ones who have done you a service, and I'm the one who you be doing a service with this.
Well, that's incredibly interesting and honest of you, Mr. Up to you.
Richie, I think you may be the one person who's worse at deals in this world than I am.
Yeah, I suppose so. But you got to recognize when you're bargaining with power, right? And I think that our friend here is dealing on a whole nother level. Now, sir, though, I would ask that you do bear this in mind, though. These friends of mine, you know, friendship is just a contract by another name, really, right? We owe each other things. But Lee here, he needs a friend like you. And Ruby, well, you know Ruby. So, yeah.
Then the deal is struck. I will get the spider out of her web. I will owe the werewolf and Ruby a favor. But you've chosen a side. Hope you don't live to regret it.
Can I trigger a corruption move that I have just received?
I think you can. Well, depends on the trigger. What are you trying to trigger?
I'm trying to trigger my corruption move. All-seeing. I mark corruption and suffer 1 harm AP to have a vision about the situation at hand. I ask the MC a question, and they will answer honestly.
Okay.
So
I'll make a note of my answer, so my honesty remains.
yeah. And the question I will ask is Temperance, the vampire who is putting the names on the blacklist. Or essentially, is he responsible for what's for what happened to Blanche?
Those are two different questions.
Yeah, I suppose I would ask
is
the
the
question. My question is he responsible for what happened to Blanche?
Yes.
Yes. And I'll take 1 harm for that. Okay.
So that's me writing off the debt that I did owe Temperance Goodfellow for the starlets, unless you want one both ways.
No, you offered information. You didn't ask him anything. You actually did him a favor. So you've accrued additional debts on him, not paid the one you had.
You can use that debt to cancel the debt, though, if you want. Like, whenever
I
you
think
want.
in some ways it's more interesting to have the pair of debts.
Yeah. I've just been using mine to cancel them off because I started off with such a long list of shopping list of debts to do.
Well, I think there are times when it works both ways. Basically, amongst friends, you probably just tic-tac-toe them out. Amongst more distant people, you probably maintain them as holds in both directions. And possibly when someone tries to call the hold, you cancel it with your debt, but you leave it till it pushes to that point.
Yeah, totally.
Goodfellow goes over to a record player and flicks through and puts the needle down on it's a Frank Sinatra song. You can hear him crooning away, and he clicks his fingers. He didn't see them; they were up in the rafters, but 12 big bats dropped down. Their wings ran out through an open window and out into the city. Then he looks at the window and says, "It is war." And I'll draw conclusion down on tonight's session, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Which seems we are moving towards a suitable fourth and final act with a number of the clocks on 9 o'clock, including the central storm. So I'm going to stop recording, and then we'll do some stars and wishes and draw a conclusion